Welcome everybody back to the Buds Podcast, episode 25. And as you see today, it's a little thin on the Buds here. It's just gonna be me, Nick, and Ben. Something I don't think we've ever done this. This has been the least
New
amount of people
trio.
we've had on the podcast.
Went from the Brooklyn Nets to the Bubble Nets.
Yeah, we're basically the Brooklyn Nets right now podcast. we lost half the team. But yeah, it's just gonna be me, Nick, and Ben. More Brady and Joe had. I don't want to say prior engagements because Joe jumped out about an hour before we started to record.
Yeah.
But yeah, which is gonna be us three. We're gonna talk about some NFL, some NBA. I think we're gonna talk a little bit of hockey and then NCAA. So a lot has happened on Monday. Probably some of the biggest news of I want to say almost whole Corona, or I mean, other than like when leagues were coming back. Pat Mahomes of the Kansas City Chiefs signed out of nowhere, to make this remark, out of nowhere, signed a 10-year, I think $503 million contract, which is insane.
Half a billion.
I think it's valued under 4, the official contract, but with incentives, it can take it up to. I actually got the right number here. So the official contract is $477 million, but with incentives that he has $25 million in incentives, that can take him up to $502 million for a total contract over 10 years. And I think it's the richest contract in sports history by about $50 million. I have the numbers. It's Mike Trout is up there. Richest contracts.
I think Mike Trout is second. I think he just got over 400 million, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he just got. I think he is second.
Like 403.
Yeah,
or
okay, right here.
405.
It's Wikipedia didn't load so slow here. Okay, so Pat Mahomes is number one by now. Mike Trout is number 2, and he has a 12-year contract. So basically same as Pat Mahomes. Pat Mahomes is a 12-year contract because it's adding on to the 2 years he has left on his contract. But Mike Trout's is 12 years, $426 million. So about
ungodly amount of money still.
So yeah, Pat Mahomes is making almost $75 more million than him.
Both players are the faces of their leagues.
Well, yeah, both faces of their leagues. And then for the third is Canelo Alvarez. He's boxer. I don't know how these contracts work because I thought they get paid per.
I thought they got paid per fight. So I thought there was no contract.
They don't really have like a salary, I don't think.
Yeah, I think it's just like accumulative.
This says it's because he's signed to DAZN. I know what this is. It's the same service that Pat McAfee streamed, or he used to. I think he streams under now. So it's a service, or it's like a sporting agency or something. So he must be signed with them. I don't know how that exactly works, but his is 5 years, $365 million. And then Bryce Harper is 13 years, $330 million. And then Giancarlo Stanton, his was 13 years, $325 million. He got that contract when he was still on Miami, and now it's carried over to the New York Yankees.
I mean, shouldn't Garrett Cole be up there too?
Cole is 6th. He is 9 years, $324 million.
Imagine having 2 players in the top 10 highest paid athletes on your team.
And yearly,
the Yankees are basically cheaters for that.
Their yearly averages are, so Stanton is $25 million a year, and Cole's is $36 million a year.
$36 million for a guy who plays once every 5 games.
Yeah, and if we're talking about yearly averages here, we have Pat Mahomes is at roughly $42 million a year, but
that's it.
Yeah, roughly. But if you look at his contract, it's I liked how they structured it because they structured it so they could get players early on in the contract and get them on long-term deals. So like, because his first couple years, he doesn't break 40 million yet until 2023. So 2021 he gets paid 22 million, and then 2022 he gets paid 29 million. So I feel like it still gives them some cap room to play around with other, like getting players on long-term deals. They're gonna have no cap space. I mean, that's
I don't
just,
think they even do right now.
Yeah.
they barely have any. But then over from 2023 to 2026, he makes between 37 and 41 million each year. And then 2027, this must have just been like part of the deal, but he makes 59 million.
Huh?
You can basically say he makes 60 million that year in 2027.
He makes more in 1 year than you could probably say like 60% of most U.S. households make in an entire lifetime.
Oh yeah, no, without a doubt. And I don't understand why 2027 was the year they kind of threw 60 million on him. It might have been just how they were
That's like
financial.
his prime year.
Yeah, it could either be that or just like financially how it worked out. They're like, okay, this is the year that got mic problem there. they might have said like this might be the year we financially will be like okay. We'll have a couple rookies. We'll have guys that we signed in 2021 and 2022 on their final contract, so we can push a lot of money on him. So I don't know why they did that, but this is one of the most insane contracts in NFL history. I think we were looking at it the day it came out. We wanted to do a video way earlier in the week. We just didn't have time.
Yeah.
But it was, yeah. I was looking at it with I think it was me and you, Nick. That the next closest contract is. Oh, come on.
I think Russell Wilson's second in the NFL.
No, Russell Wilson per year is second, but it's not coming up here. Largest contracts in NFL history. Stacker. Russell Wilson is largest per year, but he's not the second like largest contract in NFL history.
Oh, we're talking about history.
Yeah. So of course it's gonna make me go all the way here. Yeah. Okay. So the second largest contract in NFL history was Khalil Mack Matt Ryan. At the time this article was made, it was Matt Ryan, and his value was 5 years, 150 million. So take
After
that.
his MVP year.
I think this was signed in May 2018. So it was. I don't know what year this was after.
I feel like a lot contracts can like sometimes make players like worse somehow.
I
Joe
feel like it
Flacco
can
got a massive deal after the Super Bowl, and I mean, I don't think Joe Flacco was particularly bad, but I don't think he lived up to the contract.
Joe Flacco, he was definitely a QB that was not saying out of his prime, but he wasn't a QB that was playing at the same level he was before that Super Bowl year. That Super Bowl year was heavily carried with their defense and Ray Lewis. Even though Ray Lewis was at the end of his career, it was still heavily carried by that defense with Terrell Suggs, their corners, their safeties. Coming back after some technical issues, we're gonna look at the rest of the top 5 of the most highest paid contracts in NFL history. So like I said, Matt Ryan he's now 2, but he's 1, and he's 5 years, 150 million. He deserved it at the time. Don't think he deserves it now with his play last year, especially.
Starting to become overrated.
Yeah. And he actually got paid the same year as now number 3 on our list, Khalil Mack. His is 6 years, 141 million. Definitely deserves it. He's one of the
his first season in Chicago was insane.
Yeah, one of the best defenders of all time. Tied with Khalil Mack, it's about $1 million less. He actually got this in the 2016 season, so he would have 2 years left on his contract coming up to this year. Andrew Luck. It was 6 years, 140 million. Now, as we know, Andrew Luck's retired, so I don't. I feel like he could still come back.
I mean, he might, but
Because the thing about Andrew Luck, he retired and then he went radio silent. He was radio silent
Yeah.
his whole career, but like you don't know what he's doing. He could because I knew he had his like mental health I think it was mental health. Like he had some problems because he was repeatedly getting injured with his back and everything. And
yeah.
everything. So he could be just working on himself right now, and maybe once the Patriots are done with
Oh
Cam,
God,
Andrew Luck,
that's all we need.
Bill Belichick pulls one of the biggest finesses in NFL history. Gets Andrew Luck. Okay, and also tied at number 3, we had Russell Wilson. And the reason you mentioned Russell is because his is a 4-year contract. But
Yeah.
he's also has the same amount of money as Andrew Luck at 140 million. So he's getting paid 35 million a year. So that's why he was the highest yearly average at that time. Now he's not going to be with Pat Mahomes at 41 million.
Yeah, no one's beating Mahomes.
Yeah. And then I'll mention Jimmy real fast, but we have Jimmy at the number 5 before Pat Mahomes at
Garoppolo?
5 years, 137.5 million, which I agree. I think Jimmy should have been. I think he should have stayed starter in. I think they should have gotten rid of Tom Brady a year earlier in New England. I think Garoppolo deserved that job more than whoever they're going to start this year. Not bashing on Cam. Cam deserves it. He's a good QB. He needed a home. But if they were going to start Stidham, he got disrespected just like Jacoby Brissett. Like, Jacoby Brissett's a decent QB. He's just in a bad situation now. I don't feel like he's going to start.
Now he's just overpaid.
Yeah, I don't feel like he's going to start in the NFL again unless the Colts give him another chance next year.
Maybe go with the Jaguars or something.
Yeah, I liked Brissett and Garoppolo. Like, they were like, I wasn't a fan of the Patriots. I was a fan of their backup QBs because they were so good. And,
yeah, Garoppolo was actually decent on the Patriots too.
Oh, Garoppolo, yeah, because he had to play those.
Well, he played like 2 games.
No, it was weird because he was supposed to start the first 4 games for Brady after his suspension, and then he got hurt after the first 2 games, and then Brissett came in and did really good those last 2 games, so that's why he got traded. And then was it that year or the next year when – no, it was that year Garoppolo got traded, and then that offseason Brissett got traded because then Brissett played in Indianapolis last year for the first year, and Garoppolo played – or no, Garoppolo was 2 – wait, no, it would have been – yeah, no, it would have been that year because then he played half that year there but then got hurt. Or he got hurt like a game or 2 in because they had to start Nick Mullins or whatever. Or CJ Beathard, I think.
I think he tore his ACL.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, there's some – oh, and then gotta mention my boy Stafford at 5 years, 135 million.
People probably say that's overrated because he hasn't won a playoff game, but his stats.
His stats say otherwise.
Yeah, his regular season stats.
Stats say he's one of the best QBs in NFC North.
Maybe the best.
He could be if he stays healthy.
Oh, he could if he has a deep playoff run this year, and Rodgers and Jordan Love have their back and forth. Trubisky is trash as usual, and then Kurt chokes in prime time. Then he'll be good. I mean, two of those are given. The Rodgers situation might not happen. Rodgers might flourish, but the other 2, it's a given. Those are going to happen. Like, we know it already.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers just needs a second receiver.
Yeah, he just has Devontae Adams, and then does he have Lard there, or what's his name?
I think it's like that Valdez-Scantling's their number 2 receiver.
Yeah, Valdez-Scantling, he's not bad. He's a good route runner. Like, he'll play good in the slot, I think, for them. He's pretty decent. So moving on from the Green Bay Packers wide receiver talk, because, I mean, obviously their receiving core kind of sucks. They've never really done anything for it and can't fix anything about it until they fix something about it. And other NFL news coming out, I believe, Thursday,
was that going into the 2020 season, after during the post game, players are not allowed to come in contact with other players. They have to stay 6 feet apart, which means
I don't understand.
Darius Slay retweeted Adam Schefter's tweet, and he said, "How are we going to tackle each other for 60 straight minutes and then not be able to say hi to each other?"
Like, what's the
game?
difference?
It makes no sense. But the NFL is forbidding jersey exchange after the game, which is, you could say, kind of a big deal, because in the last couple of years, jersey exchange have become a big thing in most sports, in NFL, NBA. I don't think we've really seen it in baseball yet, but it's something that's become a very big thing, like a sign of respect towards the other player. So I feel like that's going to be a big thing going into the season, that they're not going to be able to do it. I think that's all that we had for the NFL, really. Not much other than those things happened this week. There was some controversy, but I don't really think we really need to get into that with Deshaun Jackson.
Talk about that topic.
So then moving on to the NBA, things are getting really exciting. A lot of players and teams are starting to make their way down to Orlando to the bubble. I know the Raptors on Thursday, I don't know if they already were down there and their buses got down there, but they're down there. OKC is there. The Clippers are there. The Mavs are there. A lot of teams are starting to show up. 76ers are there because Joel Embiid tweeted out a picture of their food, and it didn't look like it looked like the food was kind of bland.
It looked like airport food.
Yeah,
like, not airport food, airplane food. Like, it's something you would get on an airplane, not at a 5-star hotel.
Because then he tweeted out a picture of himself like a year or two like before he came to the NBA, when he was like really, really skinny, when he looked like Thon Maker, and he was like, "I'm about to lose 50 pounds after this bubble." But I thought that was really funny. And then he was complaining about that. The courts and everything, I know we touched on it a little on Monday's episode, but the courts look really nice. I know those are just like their practice courts, but those look really nice there. Who was it? Terrence Ross. He tweeted out a video of the Players Lounge, which looks like it's gonna be a fun time down there.
And that was in the second hotel, the second tier one, that you could call it.
Yeah. No. What team is Terrence?
He's on the Magic.
That's the third tier.
No, I saw they're in the second tier.
Oh, they're in the second tier? So,
yeah.
Or is the third?
The third tier is all the teams that are not in the playoffs.
Oh, okay. So he's second tier. So yeah, that did not look bad at all. So I can't imagine what it was. I don't even remember what the first hotel was called, but the top tier hotel. I can't imagine what that's going to look like, because they really put effort into these players' lounges, and I feel like it's going to be a really fun environment to have the players being down there. Still think, and I'm preaching it until it happens, still think they should have the reality Big Brother TV show going on down there but
it would be a revelation when they find one playing doubles ping pong.
Oh my, Bubba, you can't do that. You can't play.
I can't even utter those words.
I saw that DeRozan was like mad about how that's a rule. The doubles ping pong thinks it's stupid.
Two of the guys, Jordan Clarkson and I want to say Joe Ingles, were mad about it too, because they said they were good partners for ping pong, and they're like, we can't. I don't get, like, but I mean, I guess I don't really. I've never really seen people play doubles ping pong. I've only ever seen like singles ping pong.
Yeah, so I just don't know why it's a rule though.
And like they specifically said that, like, if you play doubles ping pong, like, I don't know what like repercussions there will be, but like, you know, they might, I don't know. They probably won't quarantine you. They'll give you like a slap on the wrist or something like that. But
yeah,
just a weird rule.
with your little wristband that you get or whatever ring that you get, they'll buzz you or something if they see you coming in. Send like a shockwave.
It just zaps you.
It sends a shockwave through your body, tells you to go back to your room. But yeah, the NBA bubble is looking really, really nice, and I think that it's going to be a fun experience for the players and for us just to watch how everything goes down. That comes back the 30th, I believe, and we talked about those schedules that come. It's Pelicans and Jazz first, so it's going to be fun to watch there. I don't think there was anything else from the NBA. Was there any other big bubble news? I saw that Mavericks were kind of having fun with it.
We could talk about the Brooklyn Nets.
Oh, yeah.
What's left of them?
The bubble net. They're basically compiled of a team of free agents now, except Karis LeVert and Jarrett Allen, I think, and Joe Harris. Yeah. Those are their only three starters that are remaining. Now. Jamal Crawford is now there as their starting point guard, something no one ever thought they would see. And Michael Beasley, correct?
Yeah.
Michael Beasley is going to probably be their starting power forward, and then they just basically got G Leaguers to fill out the rest of their roster because everyone on that team somehow had corona. I don't get it. They must have been sharing drinks.
Some players are just sitting out.
Yeah, some player. I don't think any players on the Nets are sitting out. I think all of them ended up having corona.
Like Kyrie, I think. I don't know if Kyrie even healthy if he wanted to.
See, Kyrie, I think he had the option to come back, but he is sitting out just to rehab still. So he had a reason. He had the whole rehab reason. But I don't think any other player on the Nets is just sitting out voluntarily. I think they are doing it because they have corona or are hurt. Because I know, is Rondae Hollis-Jefferson, is he on the Toronto or the Nets?
Yeah, he's on the Raptors.
Oh, okay. I knew he was on the Nets last year. So, yeah, Taurean Prince, that's a big – I mean, I think you said it earlier. That's not a big loss for them, but, like
he was when you decent.
Have no loss. It kind of reminds me of Terrence Prince from the Pistons because he was a good defender. So, yeah. So moving on to our next topic. Hold on. I guess we're going to address that lag real fast. So my internet's been shit this entire night because my internet provider got hit with a bad storm. So I was trying to get in and out of the Zoom call. This whole time we've had at least 2 cuts. I don't know. You're going to know about the first one. I don't know if you'll recognize the second one, but I mean, you probably will because the scenery changed. I had to move to my phone and I had to move to data, but that's why if there's some lag or audio issue from a point in time or it's kind of choppy at some point in the video. So to address that there. Now moving on to hockey. I'll let you talk about the hockey because I don't know fully about it, man.
Yeah, I just saw that they finally set up like a date when they're going to start their season again. For this year, it's supposed to be around. I think it's like August 1st. They're supposed to like begin like those play-in series.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because I think coming up next week, or they might have already have. I know they've been doing like individual practices right now, but I think starting next week they return to practice fully.
Yeah.
And I know that they're moving that the play-in tournaments. There were talks that they were going to be in Las Vegas and stuff like that. But officially, the NHL is going to be playing only in Canada, in Toronto, and where was the other place you said?
In Edmonton.
Edmonton. Which I think we talked about this when the NHL was first said they were coming back, that they might as well play in Canada. You're going to have the most rinks there. I mean, hockey's a Canadian sport. Like, it only makes sense. It didn't really – I mean, Las Vegas made sense for the fact of hotel situation, but they only have one rink there, so it would be kind of difficult to get a lot of games in, I feel like. So was there anything really else about the NHL, or you said when their next season is starting, so the 2021 season?
Yeah, apparently for the next season, like the regular season is supposed to start December 1st, so it's pretty fast.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, NBA wants to start around that same time. They want to start. I think they want to start in between December 1st and December 25th. So they're probably going to start at the same time. I mean, we're going to see fast track off seasons. I know we've talked about the NBA's dates already and like what they're doing and how literally it goes end of season, 3 days, draft, 3 days, free agency. Like it's going to be insane. And people like Woj are not going to be able to handle themselves with the amount of news that are coming out. Woj is going to have
all these sports now are so overwhelming now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, because like I said, we wanted to do the Pat Mahomes video on Monday night, but we just couldn't find time. Like, and then we just got hit with more news. So, it was, now I didn't talk to you guys about this, but I think we talked about it yesterday. I said I wanted to talk about it. Tomorrow, Saturday, I talked about this happening, and Dana White got shot down because of it when he first suggested it. But Fight Island is happening in Abu Dhabi. They're doing a fight on an island. They're not doing it outside. They're doing it inside, obviously, because of the heat. But Dana White finally got his Fight Island that he was preaching for like 2 months ago when Corona started, and he was like, "Just give me an island. I can put on fights in it and everything, and I can make things happen." So he's finally getting that. I think there's about 2 or 3 title fights. It's supposed to be one of the biggest UFC cards that we've seen in a while. Again, I don't know UFC, so I can't say much on it, but it's supposed to be a pretty big one. So it's going to be interesting there. Now some other big news regarding Corona-wise is NCAA. Not only football, this affects basketball, hockey, baseball, softball, volleyball. This affects all sports. The Ivy League, they suspended all sporting events. They are not playing sports this fall. And Harvard disbanded 11 of their sports teams. Don't know if that means permanently or just for the time being, but yeah, they're done for the time. They're done for now.
Well, I don't think
with those
anyone
11.
cares about Harvard sports.
I mean, it's Harvard. You can't be that mean to them. But the Big Ten, they announced that they are going to be only playing conference games this year, which is kind of big. I mean, it's going to be interesting how they change up their schedule and what they do. I think it's going to be pretty fun watching Michigan go up against other Big Ten schools and showing that we're the best Big Ten team. Because I think we'll get to play Minnesota this year. I don't know if we were getting to play them anyways, but we will get to play them this year. And I saw that a lot of teams are going to be a lot of conferences are probably going to be following suit with doing what the Big Ten did and only playing conference games, which will make the college football playoffs and bowls pretty interesting if those end up happening. So,
yeah. And I think I saw that they're saying that they might move like Notre Dame to the ACC.
Oh, so they actually have. See, Notre Dame is technically in the ACC, but not for football. They're in the ACC for all other sports, I think. And I think I want to say, I could be completely wrong. I want to say they're in another conference for another sport. They're such a weird like school because they're in like 3 different conferences. I feel they're in Independence, ACC, and then another one, but all different sports. So, but I would like that move to the ACC. It would give Clemson some competition finally.
Yeah.
So it would definitely bolster that conference. But other than that, I mean, it's just waiting out on that obviously, hopefully that means that we can see college football this year. It's definitely going to be an atmosphere with what we're going to see. It's not rivalry games because you're playing all conference games, and you're going to see like Michigan versus Minnesota, Michigan versus Ohio State, Michigan versus Michigan State, Michigan versus Indiana. You're going to see all these games, or some like cross conference games that you usually don't see, or like with divisions and stuff, because Michigan has I want to say East and West. I think we changed to that. We used to be Legends and something.
I will
But
say that it's going to be interesting to see how some of the people, I'm not saying they do this, but I'm totally saying they do this. Alabama, Clemson, all the big schools go out and pay Citadel, these
Calling them out just like that.
FCS schools, and it's gonna be interesting because are they going to have the same amount of games that they usually do, or are they just going to have the conference games?
I think they're going to have, because correct me if I'm wrong here, they have 12 games usually, correct, in the regular season?
I think it's 11 unless they have a rivalry game, and then it's 12.
I think it's 12.
Maybe.
So, I mean, for Michigan, or for the Big Ten, I know that would work because they have 12 people in their conference. So you might not see places like the SEC be able to do it. I think they actually have 12 too, but I don't know for sure. But you're right there. I mean, Alabama's not going to be able to play these little schools. They're going to have to play actual, not contenders, but actual teams that are in the SEC. They're going to play every single one of them if that were to happen. And I feel like that, not that they'll struggle, but that it'll give them a reality check in a lot of games that they'll be closer than they thought, even though they were still tied with the Citadel at halftime last year. Just want to point that out there. But it definitely will be interesting because I feel like the games will mean a lot more. Every single game will actually have to mean something. And then when it comes to the playoffs and like bowl games and stuff, this might be the time for the NCAA to implement the 16-game tournament in the football, which I would love.
I think that would be nice.
I mean,
I think 4 is not really a playoff.
Like that.
I mean, or maybe 8 teams. Maybe 16 is a bit too big. Maybe 8 teams. You know, you're getting 2 Big Ten, 2 SEC, 2 ACC, or maybe it would have to be 16 or like 12 or something. It would have to be something big so you could get like almost, or at least one from each Power 5, and then your stragglers, your 3 wild cards, like maybe 2 non-Power 5 and stuff like that, because the rankings would be insane too with how the rankings work out, because you're not playing your normal, like, because I know a lot of teams play actual ranked teams and stuff. So, but I like with the Big Ten and SEC, it will be easier for them to get higher up in the rankings because they play mostly ranked teams. Like Michigan will play, Indiana might be ranked, Michigan State probably won't be, but Ohio State, Penn State, Wisconsin, Minnesota, and then you got the SEC, you got Tennessee, LSU, Auburn. I don't know who else is in the SEC, Ben?
The SEC? I mean, Arkansas, South Carolina, Mississippi State, Ole Miss, Alabama. I think they have 12. If they're going to do 12 games, I think they can just have a full SEC conference schedule. Yeah. Because, I mean, some of the teams like Arkansas, Vanderbilt, Ole Miss is decent, but kind of on the lower side of mediocre. But you have LSU, Alabama, Florida, Georgia, Tennessee did actually surprisingly good last year, starting out pretty slow. Those are probably going to be the main contenders. I'm probably forgetting somebody, and somebody will yell at me, but.
Oh, no, you're right. I mean, it would definitely be interesting to see, especially those 2 conferences. Those are the biggest conferences in football.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how those work out and how things go, especially with, like, the college football rankings and just regular rankings in general. It'll just be interesting altogether. Now, I think that's all we got for the episode. Now we got, you notice we didn't talk about baseball. I think so. We're gonna get some things worked out here with my connection and audio. I think we're bringing one more person on here from that's usually on the podcast with us. We're bringing Mort back, I think. Maybe more. Yeah, maybe more. So we're gonna be talking about baseball. It's gonna be a little shorter episode, but we had a lot of news to talk about today, so we wanted to put out 2 videos for you guys since we didn't get one out earlier in the week because of like time constraint and everything. So yeah, we're gonna get some stuff together, and then this one will be going up around. I think this one will go up at our normal time at noon, and then you could possibly see our other video at 2. Maybe time might fluctuate there. Maybe it'll be anywhere from probably 1 to about 5. It can be posted. So yeah, I think that's all. Sorry about all the issues for this episode. Sorry about the low attendance for this episode. This episode was kind of a cluster for us, but still, luckily made it through. You guys got anything else to say?
Well,
Save for the next episode.
Yeah, I was gonna say the next episode.
Yeah, I was gonna say, but next episode we're talking about MLB schedule that was released, opening day pitchers, and other MLB news. That I think there's a couple other things that we wanted to talk about and address. But I think that's all. So you guys can drop a like if you like the video. Subscribe if you haven't yet, and thank you guys for watching. See you next time.